Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Final Tackle podcast. And we are joined by probably one of the most infamous referees. He had a wonderful career in the NRL, but he unfortunately is probably most notably known for a very unfortunate incident regarding Tony Carroll. His name is Tony Dallas Harras. I probably said that very wrong. Thanks for joining us today, mate. This episode is brought to you by our proud sponsor, Gold Coast Trading Cards. They are an authorized TLA trading card dealer, and they are the NRL collector's choice. From box breaks to individual cards, they sell thousands of them from the 1960s up until recent 2020s and into the future 2021s coming out next year. Be sure to get all of your NRL trading card needs at Gold Coast Trading Cards.
Thanks, CJ. Mate, good to be here.
Nah, too easy. So, I mean, let's address that elephant in the room. It was 2009. Broncos at Suncorp Stadium against the Rabbitohs. I'll pop the footage in here for anyone who's watching the episode. You were unfortunately knocked out. Freak accident, but it does happen, not just to players. First of all, do you recall anything of that game? And if not, how was the recovery for the few days afterwards?
Yeah, actually, I do recall a little bit of the game. Also, like a little bit after the game as well. But I kind of really remember the that night, like just tossing and turning, and just not feeling well at all. But bits and pieces I do remember it. It was funny because it was the first double header at Suncorp Stadium as well, and we were the first game. It was great, and so 50,000 people there, and looking forward to a Friday night game and things like that. But unfortunately, things didn't really plan out the way we thought.
No, and as I was just mentioning to everyone who's watching, obviously we've got the HIA for players, and we do have a backup referee. And people always ask, why is there a backup referee? That is one of the reasons why there is a backup referee. And how do you think your career went after that unfortunate accident?
Yeah, mate, it was still pretty good. Like I wish I went a bit longer, kind of thing. But that was like towards like 3/4 way through 2009, and I only had I think it was about 3 weeks off, and I come back for 1 week.
Yep.
It was West Tigers and the Roosters at the footy stadium, and the best thing about that is Brad Fittler contacted me on the way home on the car, and we were talking and things like that. Supposedly, like Billy Harrigan. Was driving me back to Dapto, and I don't really recall it, but he actually came out of his way when I made the appearance again against the West Tigers, and he was the coach of the Roosters as well.
Okay.
And he came out and had a good talk to me and things like that. But after that game, it's ironic because the following Thursday at training, I tore my hamstring, and I was out for the rest of the season.
Oh, wow. Like you'd think it'd be, the head knock, because that would rule out anyone, but no, it was the hammy. Damn.
Yeah. It was just with that head knock, like I had vertigo, and it wasn't a pleasant experience for the next couple of weeks. But I was just champing at the bit to get back in. I was actually having a really good season up until until then. Had a even actually 2010 wasn't and even 2011 wasn't too bad as well. But up until then, having really good games and getting really good reviews, kind of thing. But that all kind of went by the wayside after I got knocked out.
Yeah, of course. And obviously, speaking of your time as a referee, who was your favorite referee to run with? Because you were a referee during the 2-referee system. And who was your favorite referee to, be a touchy for?
Yeah, sure. Well, actually, I started with a 1-referee system, to be honest.
Okay.
It started in 2006. And
yeah.
Funny enough, that was from Paul Simpkins breaking down himself up at Newcastle. So I refereed 1 referee for up until for 06, 07, 08.
Yep.
Kind of thing. 2009, probably a good mate of mine is Gavin Badger. So
I've spoken to Badge. He's a top bloke.
Yeah, mate, really, really good fella. And he was probably the easiest. We're really still really good mates now, and he was probably the easiest to run with because we used to we knew each other's game. We used to socialise off the field as well, and it was just really easy. Refereeing with him. It was running a line. Look, to be honest, I don't really know. I'd done a couple of test matches on the line and things like that, but early in my career was it was mate, I wouldn't know who was the best referee to run with as a touchy. I'd only done 40 odd touchies kind of thing. But
Yep.
long time ago. So you might as well say from say 2009 onwards, I didn't really run the line at all.
Yeah,
So
nah, for sure. And that's fair enough. And speaking of the two referee system, 2020 saw the return of the one referee. And anyone who follows your Twitter knows that you are a bit anti one referee. What is your reasoning behind that? And what are your thoughts in general of the new rules, not just the one ref, but, you know, the six again, and also the new rules being implemented for this season coming up?
Yeah, look, I am a advocate for the two referees. Like, I was probably, as I said, fortunate enough to referee one referee at the highest level and also two. The reason why I like the two referee system is, you've got to like another set of eyes behind the ruck.
Yep.
And with the change of vocab, the last couple of years, it's a lot easier for the main referee to look at the front of the ruck, look at markers and things like that. But you got the assistant referee behind the play as well, talking to the ruck. If you listen to a referee when they were two referees, they wouldn't really say very much. The bloke in the pocket done a lot of work in that ruck and made the ruck a lot bigger. The hold down tactics, I think, lessened.
The defensive coordinating ref, you could say, like the one that's making sure the players are back 10. Would they? Sorry to interrupt. Would they? Talk to the players amongst the line, saying, get back, or make sure you stay back, or sort of thing.
Just the head referee, you might as well say. That's what they do. Most definitely, as I said, but you've actually got the support from the touchies as well. So the open side touch judge gives a lot of feedback to the referee, like for shooters and like especially umbrella defense kind of thing. So they can actually, without looking, they can talk to the players outside of him and say, so and so get on side. But look, their main focus was basically on the ruck. They slow down tactics in the ruck to make sure it's a good play the ball, where old mate behind in the pocket, he's looking for that, like the sneaky leg pull
and the infringements and stuff. Yeah,
exactly right. Even the sneaky hand, like
like a sneaky hand for a strip. Well, a strip, but it's a blatant. The hand has knocked it out, sort of thing. Yeah,
100%. Like old mate's behind, looking at that a lot closer to the referee. Referee's usually 10, 12 meters away.
Yeah,
and it is a fair distance. So that's why I'm a fan of the two referees, especially at high level. It is a very, very quick game. Like you don't realise how quick it is from refereeing.
And with the six again now, it's even faster. Like it's even quicker.
Most definitely. Like I actually do like the six again. But everyone liked the two referees when it first started out as well.
That's true.
Let's
give it a few years.
Give it a few years, and there'll be people up in arms because
there's still people that are hating it. They're like, oh, what's the point? Like, no one even remembered that there was a 2040 rule that came out in 2020. There was two players that attempted it, didn't get it, but they still attempted it, and fans were thinking, what the frick's he doing?
What's going on here? Yeah, exactly. And that's the best thing about NRL. Like the referees actually do go out to opposed sessions and actually talk to the players and even just update on rules, and take questions as well.
Yeah, I mean, last year I saw Badger training sessions for teams in the preseason.
Yeah, we used to do that all the time, certain teams would ring up and say, can we actually get a referee to come out to train and do an opposed session, things like, we would never train in the gym, of course. Because they're probably a little bit stronger than all of us combined kind of thing. So, but on the field session, it's not a problem.
Badge was running rings around I was at the Para preseason in 2019 going into 2020, and Badge was running rings around him. But in saying that, I think referees need to have that endurance and that stamina because they're running more than any other player in the game.
Yeah, most definitely. We actually, one thing we do we actually do a lot of backwards running as well, which we kind of don't really train for, but we've got to be very, very fit cardio wise. Probably even fitter than players at certain stages because we're actually making decisions under the fatigue, and there's like we do a lot of training. We used to do they still do it now. A lot of training under fatigue and things like that. So to try and get that game mentality, but you can do a lot of training and all these opposed sessions, but mate, nothing really nothing really compares to match day, live with the crowd. I suppose not last year when there was no crowd, but even just the extra pressure on being live football. You can set certain things up, at an opposed session, but it's not the same as running the game live.
Yeah, no, for sure. And tangenting a bit into your post-refereeing life, what are you doing these days with yourself? And what did you do like immediately the year or two after finishing up as an NRL ref?
Yeah, sure. I 2013, I become director of the director of coaching and development for New South Wales referees. So I was on their board for 12 months, and also doing a bit of coaching and assessing in grade and also and junior reps. And then a couple of years after that, I was a coach of the junior reps, and then I was a head coach of the junior reps. What badge is now at the moment? I was head coach there for a while, and still actually coaching, assessing down in the Illawarra district. So I'm still a referees manager down here. So I make appointments, for the grade referees down here, and appoint assessors to games, etc. But 2018, I was one of the coaches for the high performance squad, which is New South Wales Cup. So I've done that for 12 months. But I got to a stage that I was doing a lot of travel, and I just at a certain stage of my life, I didn't want to, like weekends were gone. I wasn't seeing my family at all. And, I was being involved with rugby league refereeing for a long, long time. So I thought I'd just, especially like 2019, I was still involved with actually country rugby league. I was coaching, assessing country rugby league for a couple of years. I had a couple of fingers in the pie, with New South Wales and country, like living in the Illawarra. I could do that. But actually the year just gone, 2020, I kind of stepped away from up there because of COVID and things like that. And I really enjoyed the time away, which was great. The other things that were going on, unfortunately, in my life. But when COVID hit, it was just probably a bit of a blessing in disguise. Sometimes, you like yourself, when you're working, you kind of get sick and tired of the same old. So that 12 months off up in New South Wales and also country kind of it kind of it was a bit of a refreshing for us.
Yeah, like reinvented yourself a bit.
Yeah, it's just concentrated on Illawarra stuff down here, and 2021's just see what happens. I'll, as I said, only time will tell with the comp and things like that. But I've always been involved with coaching and development for referees since I retired, mate. So
for sure. And going to a bit of your grassroots, did you ever play footy as a kid or as a teenager, or was it always you wanted to be a ref sort of thing?
No. I started playing footy under eights for Adapto Canaries.
Okay,
Played with those up until 16s. Played with school, like all through school, all through primary school, high school. Like fortunate enough to captain our high school team with. We had some really good players. Had Johnny Simon in our team, and and Craig, his younger brother. So we had a really good school team at Adapto High. I played a couple of there was a couple of trials in under 18s, but just didn't grow, to be honest. I was still fairly thin, and at that stage I was refereeing, actually running a line for the old amateur league down in the Illawarra.
Oh wow!
It was an unaffiliated comp with for then like New South Wales. So I was actually refereeing men at a 16, 17, 18 kind of thing. And these guys back in the 80s, it was tough footy. Like it was as you seen a lot of 80s footy up in Sydney. Like. Imagine a 17-year-old boy refereeing an amateur league. It's like a pub comp, you might as well say. These guys down here. It was a pretty tough initiation, but I enjoyed that. And refereed a grand final there in 91, and then finally got my official ticket in 92 and joined the Illawarra Referees Association.
Yep.
And been a member ever since.
Oh wow. One of the more, you could say, notable, I don't know if you could call it positive or not, moments of your refereeing career was the game that you had to send off Jamin Lowe for absolutely knocking out Brett Delaney. That's not, I'm not condoning that to anyone who's listening or watching. Do not do that. That is the height of, bad sportsmanship. But I want to know, what was it like as a referee, having to send off a player? Because it's one thing to sin bin, but obviously that was, even if anyone watches this episode, there's the footage going right now. Anyone who knows, that's a send-off offense. What was it like being in that position as a referee, having to send off a player?
Mate, I'm glad you brought that up, because back then it was 2007, so it was only one referee.
Yep.
Still the video referee kind of thing. So as you can see, played the ball.
And then just got up and decked him.
And decked him, yeah. So I actually kind of had an eye on it, but the touch judge there come in as I actually said, like break play come in as well, because he actually, saw
He
it as
saw
well.
it, yeah.
Yeah. So I saw it out the corner of my eye. Actually, I did see get decked and go down there. Oh, geez, here we go. I'm thinking, anyway, I had the video referee up there. I'm not going to mention his name.
No.
He goes, it's not good. Put that on a report. And
the video ref said on report, not send him off.
The video referee looked, put that on a report. Anyway,
I would do more than that.
Well, mate, I've gone. Anyway, when he said that, I already had Jamin Lowe and
the Rabbitohs were up. They were winning that game anyway. So sorry, continue.
And I said, Roy, that's a task. I said, just hold on there. I walked back to Brett Delaney and I looked down. He was like blood on his face.
He was still out.
Yeah. And I've gone, nah. And he goes, oh, what, you're going to send him off, are you? I went, yeah. And I went over there, said, yeah. And I got the touch judge's report and I said, I said the same thing as, mate, you're off. So really, for a bloke who had only refereed, I don't know, maybe a dozen, to 21st grade games, get the video referee saying, put him on report. It was just like a bit daunting.
You definitely made the right call. After watching that game, I've watched it plenty of times. You definitely did the right call.
100%. I would have been roasted if I just put a report. And
the
best thing,
mate, yeah.
The best thing about it was when I went back to the office, we actually do reviews of our game, and
of course,
we all come together and put certain things, and they had the voiceover of the referee plus the video referee. And Robert Finch was our coach, was the head coach, and he goes, "Who was in the box?" And so he goes, "Oh, geez, Tone, I'm so happy. You went with your gut feel or your decision because, mate, I would have been taking phone calls for a week." I said, "Finchy, mate, seeing that," he said, "Mate, it was just a no-brainer for me." It was just
you don't do that.
Nah, mate, not at all. Not at all.
I can't fathom. Obviously, don't name names or anything, but I can't fathom how a referee, especially video referee, because they can see the whole game happening. Not the ref on the field says put it on report, but damn. Anyway, anyone who's listening and watching, the footage is down there on loop at the moment. Let us know in the comments if you think that it's an on report or a send off. Now, speaking of, we've mentioned two notable games, which was the Broncos game, which was a Rabbitohs game, and then Jamin Lowe. Is there any other game you personally hold as your biggest highlight of your refereeing career?
Oh, look, there's probably a few, but I'd say the first game, but when I come down, it was in 2006 when Paul Simpkins tore his calf. It was 20 odd minutes into the game, and it was Newcastle versus North Queensland Cowboys. It was packed up at Newcastle. Channel 9 game as well, which is free to air, and
everyone watching.
Yeah, mate. And the thing is, Andrew Johns one side and Jonathan Thurston the other side.
Mate.
Young Tone walks down first game. Mate, welcome to first grade. But that's probably the standout. The very first game that I did was just it was just surreal, And I knew one of the players, Steve Southern, played for the Cowboys. He's a Dapto boy, and I've known him, all through life kind of things. And he was playing in the second row. He just looked at me and he just kind of shook his head, had a bit of a laugh kind of thing. But that one there is a standout. But probably the second one was go to Papua New Guinea and refereeing the Prime Minister's 13 between Australia and PNG, and just being one of the boys. I was basically the 18th man, just travelling with the Australian team, eating, training, getting a drink with the boys. Mal Meninga as coach, and Neil Henry as the assistant coach, and just being one of the boys. It was really good. I was a little bit. Went with trepidation, going to the airport, but the two blokes that kind of pulled me in straight away was Chris Sandow and Big Dave Taylor.
Oh well, Dave Taylor's a top bloke.
They were the two guys. Come over here, Tony, and introduced me to. I kind of knew the blokes anyway. Kind of brought me on board, but the whole time there was great. Just hanging with Mick Innes and Corey Parker and things just listen to even Mal and just talk about footy. It was that's, I suppose, everyone's dream. I always wanted to play first grade footy. I was never up that standard, but just to travel and get to see what
what the day in the life of an NRL player is like.
Oh, mate, unreal. Especially a rep player as well, and just going out to PNG, going out to schools and things like that. And I went with Tim Manor and Smith, what's his first name?
Craig?
Played for
Cameron?
Matter.
Tim Smith?
Tim, no, not Tim. Played in the second row and then played in the centres. Anyway, he going out with those two guys and just talking to them and just going to schools and like I've been to Papua New Guinea a couple of times now. I've walked the Koto Calling and it's just
and also what was the refereeing?
It's mind blowing. If you get the opportunity to get there,
first grade
you've got no idea.
And which one was more difficult to referee?
How good we've got it in Australia. Yeah, look, I was a Balmain Tigers supporter in the old New South Wales rugby league back in the 70s, 80s, kind of until they merged with West Tigers. Once they merged, like I'm not I don't actually follow any team, at all, unfortunately. New South Wales, of course, because I live in New South Wales. But as I said, I don't follow an actual team itself. I probably follow players. I suppose the Dragons, St George Illawarra Dragons, probably a bit close to my heart because I personally
Dapto, all that.
Well, even the coach, the coaches, I knew Steve Price and I knew Paul McGregor, kind of thing. So I kind of and players as well, coming through the ranks. I probably follow players more than teams themselves. I just hope they.
Yep, you follow the league in general, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly right. Now I think being a referee too, it's hard to
have to.
Mate, you can't. Like you kind of, you don't. You just, I don't know. You kind of fall away from.
You kind of just shut it off, sort of thing.
Yeah. But Balmain Tigers were my team, mate. Wayne Pearce was my hero growing up. Through primary school, I was playing lock because Wayne Pearce played lock. And I was fortunate enough to meet him. I've met him a couple of times, kind of, but I refereed a game down in Melbourne. Actually, no, I think I ran the line down in Melbourne, and it was a Saturday game anyway. It was him and Gary Freeman we're across the road for a drink, kind of thing, and they were there, and when he come up, Tony, how you going? I kind of almost fell over.
Like, what? You know who I am?
My childhood hero actually knew who I was, kind of thing. It was just a really surreal moment.
Yep.
Talking to Wayne Pearce, kind of thing. But Balmain were my team. But as I said, now I don't really care who wins or loses, to be honest. But massive difference between, I think I was alluding to before, New South Wales Cup or even amateur league to first grade. Nothing compares to first grade. And that's why you probably only see a certain amount of players that play reserve grade. They're really, really good reserve grade players.
Yeah.
They make the step up to to NRL. They might only play half a dozen games and then go back down. It's just, mate, it's chalk and cheese. It really is. Just the intensity, just the skill level as well. Like you're watching a million games yourself, and like just the skill level that the NRL players have gotten, and it does take it, over time. These guys, Harry Grant, for argument's sake, it's his first year playing football. It's just these guys who are making their debut years and playing great footy. That's something special about these players. But the thing about it is, see how they are next year, the year after, because as a young fella, you can play. Yep, you're great. Your body feels fine, but you know what? After 2 or 3 years, your body does get knocked around a bit. And even as a referee, all the training and stuff we do, like you see.
The only bloke I've seen that's managed to keep up the pace is Gavin Badger.
Yeah. Well, mate, he's lucky. He's, like probably soft tissue injuries, calves and things like that, but referees do ankles, knees. That's all of that joints kind of thing. We're not going to do shoulders and things.
No, but you do your ankles, your knees, because the stop starting, having to run back, having to run forward, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually always say to Badge too, mate, I reckon I've saved your career because, when they retired me in 2012, he was still going pretty good, but he got twice as fit when me and another referee were forcibly retired, kind of thing. I always say to him, mate, luckily me and Teddy went, mate, because you've kicked on and he's kicked on really well.
Oh, he went for so long, and I had the pleasure of interviewing him the middle of last year, and he brought up a very interesting topic because obviously referees start somewhere. You've got to go through reserve grade, all that sort of stuff. And he said the most difficult type of footy to referee, discipline players wise, wasn't the NRL. It was like
16s.
Yeah, it was like 16s, that sort of stuff. Because they're just. This is going to sound really bad. I don't mean any ill will to any SG Ball or Harold Matts players, but there's not that, they don't care a little bit, so they're willing to take a punch. It's not their day job. It's not what they get a living from. What do you think?
Well, mate, mate, 100%. They're going through that certain stage of they've gone through 14s, 15s, they're going 15, 16, 17s. They're actually kind of maturing as as adults, you might as well say. Yep. And and it's always everyone try and impress the girls or on the sideline, but actually I always want to make sure that they want one up on the other team or even their teammates, you know, as well. So it is a very, very hard comp to referee. You know, SG Ball and I think the Andrew Johns and Laurie Daly Cup in the country because of that. And actually, in saying that too, I think it's harder to referee the country footy probably more than the New South Wales, because country footy in a certain way, they've actually been brought up tough.
Yeah, they have.
Yep.
You know, I'm from a country rugby league area as well. Yeah.
We know yourself, you know, like Sydney, you know, it's not too bad, but as it's being brought up in the country, they've got that certain
they've got something different. They're bred different, is what they say, and it's true.
Just that toughness, you know, like, you know, someone actually trying to stand up here. Some players, you know, they might kind of step back, but the country guys, they actually stand up, and you know, luckily now,
like, you can tell the difference between a country and a city boy when they're playing in the NRL. Let's put it that way.
Oh, mate, just toughness, I reckon. You know, like week in, week out. You know, they've probably been playing first grade since they've been 16 as well. You know, so they've been getting towed up by, you know, like older men. You know, like
28-year-old, 32-year-olds. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. But no, you're right. Yeah, that 15, 16, 17 age group, mate, it's really tough because the discipline kind of goes out the window. You know,
especially in high pressure games like a grand final or like, you know, a semi and stuff.
Oh, mate, definitely. You know, they want to. Well, everyone plays to win, I suppose. Course, especially those high pressure games, they want to win even more. You know, and things, unfortunately, if they're losing by a bit, you know, things go a bit haywire.
Yeah, no, that's it. And that about wraps it up, really. That's all I can think of. So I'll finish it off with, do you have any advice for any kids who are in the referee academy or you know, wanting to be a referee? Because there's nothing wrong with wanting to be a referee and not a footy player. What advice would you give for kids who'd love to be a referee?
Well, I think the first thing, you've got to love football. You know, if you love football, you're going to be a really good referee. Also, you know, you're going to get a lot of advice from a lot of different people. And the skill is to try and filter that advice. You know, you might talk to someone for 15 minutes, but, you know, you can't take everything on board. You might even take like one or two things out of that 15-minute conversation. So that's where the hardest skill to master is actually to filter information. But, you know, like, give it a crack. You know, like, it's going to be tough because you got, you know, like mum and dad on the sideline that want their kids to succeed playing football, and they're going to get abuse. You know, you've got to have a fairly thick skin to be a referee. And as I said, you know, like, they are going to get abused, unfortunately, you know, especially at a young age. But you know what? Just keep going at it. If they've got some, you know, mentors or got people they can talk to, even as a young kid, you know, like, fair enough, you got your parents and things like that, but also, you know, like, try and tap into a more experienced referee as well, and they can actually try and put you on the right path as well.
Yep.
Just give it a shot. Don't give it for 12 months. Try and give it a shot for a couple of years, and just see how you go.
Yeah, no, that's it. So yeah, again, I want to thank you very much for joining us today, and I'll probably get this episode up